Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling down. Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling down. Well, you've been a real good little girl. Santa Claus is back in town.
What's going on, everybody? Another Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. The Thanksgiving weekend edition, although it is the first day of December. And Christmas is just 24 days away. Can you believe it? Little Joe Bonamassa there from his Merry Christmas album, Merry Christmas Baby, that he released back in 2023. So this show happens to be a best of show. There will be past interviews coming up from Gary Monterosso, Josh Bernstein, boxing legend Lennox Lewis. He's talking about Rock Vodka, the vodka that rocks. But we do have some news to get to before we get to those best of interviews. I was out most of the week this past week, and so decided to do a best of show. We will have new shows next week. In fact, Gretchen Schmidlauer from Little Dog Brewing is going to join me on next week's program. That's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get into it because we don't have a lot of time here. Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival. We've been talking about it. The 19th annual Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival set for Saturday, March 29th at the Atlantic City Convention Center. As they say, join us to kick off spring in true AC style. 2 high-energy sessions, a lineup of over 100 of the East Coast's finest breweries, and fantastic music. Here for the beer tickets. They are available now through Tuesday, December 17th until midnight. $65 plus tax and fees. The band lineup in general on sale will be announced on Wednesday, December 18th at 10 a.m. acbeerfest.com for details. I will be there. I'm not sure what session I'm going to yet. It's either going to be the noon session, or I think the other session is 7 to 10, I want to say, or 7 to 11. I forgot which. But anyway, 65 plus tax and fees. That's the cheapest you're going to get them right now, those tickets for the AC Beer and Music Festival. Go. It is a fantastic event. For the first time in 14 years, the Big Brew Beer Festival will be just one session, a VIP with a VIP hour. Saturday, March 1st, 2025, VIP is from noon to 1. The general admission is from 1 to 5. The tickets are on sale now at bigbrewNJ.com. That's the only site where you can purchase tickets. There's no more Groupon. There are only 500 VIP tickets available. Get you in an hour early. First access to all special releases without the crowds. For Black Friday, $25 off. Okay? If you use the code Black Friday, $25 off general admission, $15 off of VIP. It ends on midnight, Saturday, December 7th. Morristown Armory, 430 Western Avenue in Morristown, New Jersey. Live music by Mr. Lovejoy. It's a benefit for the Morris Rugby Corporation. BigBrewNJ.com for tickets and information. Again, use the code Black Friday. You get $25 off general admission. You get $15 off for VIP. And there you go. Other Half's Stout Season, Saturday, December 7th, 1 to 4 p.m. VIP is noon to 1. That's this coming week. Indoor-outdoor event, dress accordingly. It'll be at Other Half's Center Street location in Brooklyn, 195 Center Street to be exact. They are going to have a ton of things going on here. A lot of their favorite stout brewing friends to pour their finest stouts. Tickets include unlimited pours from all participating breweries, plus a few exciting surprises throughout the day. The VIP tickets include exclusive early access from noon to 1. You can enjoy special pours and a more intimate experience before the general admission crowds arrive. The event will be held both indoors and outdoors, so again, they stress dress accordingly. Food will also be available for purchase on site. Tickets limited. You must be 21 and older to attend. A lot of great breweries that are going to be there: Bottle Logic, American Solera, Evil Twin, King's Brewing, Mass Landing, Microphone, Mortalis, Timber Ales, Revolution, Side Project, Trillium, Trippin' Animals, WeldWorks, Vitamin C, tons of stuff. Hit their Instagram page. You will get more information there, as well as what other participating breweries will be joining them at the event. That's taking place on Saturday, December 7th. The day before, on December 6th, is Tap House 15's 9th anniversary. December 6th, that entire weekend, but it starts on December 6th at 4 p.m. Live music also starts at 4 o'clock sharp. Obviously, they will have a keg of Troon. Which one? Don't know. They will tap it at 4 o'clock probably. It'll be gone by 4:05. I guarantee you. If you're not there at 4 o'clock or at least a half hour before, forget about it. You are absolutely not going to get the Troon. There's Fidens, Vitamin C, North Park, The Answer, Human Robot, Trillium, The Seed, Other Half, Twin Elephant, Root and Branch, Schilling, Oak Flower, Weldworks, Topping Goliath, Bolero, Funktastic, District 96, Birdsmouth, Tin Barn, Mortalis, Eskerhart, Autodidact, and maybe a couple more surprises. It's definitely a great event. I have plans that night. I'm supposed to be going out to dinner with some friends. I want to go. If those plans with those ladies fall through, I might go to this event. It's a haul for me. I took a lift last time. Probably do that again. The Brewsology Beer Fest is taking over the Liberty Science Center after hours. Features over 50 breweries, 150 beers, and access throughout the museum. Admission includes unlimited beer samples with inclusive access to the center's exhibits, stage demonstrations, and a few fun surprises. It's the boozy hybrid of your middle school field trip. I've been to the last two. I will not be at this one. This is Saturday, March 1st. This is from 7 to 11 p.m. 7 to 8 p.m. is the VIP hour. From 8 to 11 p.m. is the general admission time. Tickets for general admission, $65. VIP is $80. For additional info and tickets, you just go to Brewsology, BREWSOLOGY.com/Jersey City. You can get your tickets there. It's a fun event. If you're looking for something different to do, it's definitely a fun event. Big Brew is my one that I go to all the time. I couldn't make it last year, this past year, because of my mother-in-law's passing. But that's the event I'm going to, is Big Brew. If you want to hit Brewsology, because you want to go to a nighttime event, it is certainly worth your time. Look, people are not going to a lot of beer events because of money, because of they're not drinking, whatever the case may be, right? You pick your events accordingly. I'm always at the AC Beer and Music Fest. I've always had a great time at that event. Never had a bad time. Big Brew, phenomenal event, great benefit. It's an awesome time. But again, I understand where people would cherry pick. I can't do two events in one day. That's a lot for me with constant drinking all day long. So I pick my battles. Big Brew is the battle that I'm going to pick because I know the location, I know the people. Yeah, it's a little bit of a longer ride, but I enjoy it, and I always have a good time. And we'll leave it at that. Finally, Saturday, December 14th, this is really cool. Our friends at Wet Ticket Brewing from 1 to 4 p.m., 1435 Main Street in Rahway, New Jersey. It's a holiday pajama brunch. Come celebrate with them. Wear your favorite festive PJs. Sip on some Wet Ticket beers, including the new Rudolph's Refresher, which is very good, by the way. I had that last week. Fantastic. A mix of pomegranate, cranberry, and blood orange. You can enjoy a brunch menu from Latin Fuego Food Truck and a visit from Santa and his favorite elf. Again, it's from 1 to 4 p.m. Wet Ticket Brewing, 1435 Main Street in beautiful Rahway, New Jersey. Holiday pajama brunch. I'm going to go. I'm going to get some holiday pajamas and go to this event. This sounds really, really cool, and I'm so excited that Wet Ticket is doing something like this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that Rudolph's Refresher, get to Wet Ticket and enjoy it. Pomegranate, cranberry, blood orange. It's tasty, and get it with the sugar rim. It is absolutely worth it with that little bit of sugar rim on it. It's delicious. It really is a refresher. It's not heavy. It's not overly whatever. You can have one or two. I'd say you do it with the sugar rim the first time and then do it without the sugar rim the rest of the way because you don't want that much sugar. It's a delicious beer. Now, when we come back after a short break, we continue on the best of the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast with Gary Monterosso from an interview that I taped back in August. This is the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. All right, welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. And my next guest is somebody that I've known for quite some time. I was actually on his South Jersey radio program a long time ago, talking beer. And I was thinking about it. I've never actually had him on this program. And what a perfect time to have this gentleman on. He's been hosting a variety of craft beer shows for years in New Jersey and Philadelphia, on TV, on radio, along with writing for a number of different national and local publications about the world of craft beer and other stuff as well. You can check out his beer show. It's called Beverage Chronicles. It's on Saturdays at pop999fm.com or his other program, Vintage Vinyl, on Thursdays. That's also at pop999fm.com. Follow him on the socials and Instagram at Gary Drinks Beer. Let me welcome to the Craft Beer Cast for the first time, Gary Monterosso. Gary, thanks for joining me. How are you, my friend?
Al, thank you so much for having me. Really looking forward to this, and hopefully I can catch up with you in AC at some point, huh?
That would sound like a plan for sure. Now, it is about time, my friend, that someone put together a Hall of Fame for craft beer in America. How did this get started, and how were you asked to join the board?
A fellow by the name of Marty Nachel, whom you may know from a couple of his books, Beer for Dummies, Homebrewing for Dummies. He's been in the industry for over 30 years as a home brewer, a homebrew supply shop owner, professional beer judge, literally traveling all over the world. He harbored the idea, I'm going to say late last year, and reached out to me in January. So we've been kind of sitting on this for like 8 months or so. Mm-hmm. And I think his logic kind of goes back to what he perceived as the downturn in the craft beer industry over the past couple years. So he's harbored the idea, as I mentioned, but seeing this downturn, he felt it was an opportune time to kind of take stock in the industry that, you know, all of us love and care so much about. And he felt it would be a way to help lift spirits and maybe reinvigorate public interest in craft beer. So that in mind, he reached out to apparently about 40 or 50 people to be involved in various roles. In my case, he asked me to come on the advisory board to the American Craft Beer Hall of Fame. And what that means is what we'll be doing very, very shortly is compiling a list of nominees of people. Well, I'll get into those organizations, I guess those groups shortly, but nominees from which another group called electors will choose. Right. And I suspect this is all going to be coming down within the next couple months or so.
Now, the website that is up for people to look at, it's AmericanCraftBeerHallOfFame.com. That's a bit of a mouthful, but it's a great site. We'll post some links to it so you can click right on it. So as you mentioned, as the part of the advisory board, you guys are going to get together and sort of bandy about who is going to be this first class that will be inducted into the American Craft Beer Hall of Fame. Is it somewhat like the NFL Hall of Fame, where, you know, these selectors go into a room and they argue the merits of the candidate, and, you know, he won 2 championships, he did this, he did that? Is that how the criteria is sort of going to go?
What I can say is that there will be different wings, as you mentioned. Just like you mentioned the Football Hall of Fame, I'll throw it to baseball,
there you go.
Where there's 4 wings. There's players, there's managers, there's executives, there are umpires. So it's been agreed upon that there will be multiple wings to honor all those mentioned. Now, what we're still kind of discussing, but it's pretty much settled, is as to who are these groups, who are going to be these groups. Example, brewers, brewery owners, maybe ingredient suppliers, journalists. I propose maybe organizations such as Brewers Association.
Nice.
So that's still to be decided.
Okay.
And just ordinary citizens. I know I even talked about the possibility of including some chefs whom I know, some celebrity chefs who have incorporated beer into recipes or pairings. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole host of groups. It's pretty much settled. I think there's just some finer points to go over, but it looks as though those are the main possibilities that we're going to incorporate, with formal nominations taking place, I'm going to say, within the next couple of months, quite frankly.
We're talking with Gary Monterosso. He's an author, host of various beer and music programs, and he's just recently asked to be on the advisory board of the new American Craft Beer Hall of Fame. More info is at that website. Just go to AmericanCraftBeerHallOfFame.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The Answer. Now, Gary, did he mention if there would be a physical location at some point so that people can go to it, or is it just going to be online only? And if there is going to be a physical location at some point, I wonder what city would you put it in?
Excellent question. And initially it will be an online sort of thing. Mm. However, there are plans and there's some finances that are coming into play that lead me to think that it will, in fact, be a physical location, with my strong suspicion that it'll be in the Chicago area, in part because that's where Marty Nachel lives. So I think it's going to be in that area, and he can kind of oversee it a bit more.
Perfect.
This is a nonprofit organization, by the way. I do want to mention that to you. It's a 501c3 nonprofit,
right?
And part of its mission is to raise funds for this wing. So I fully suspect that at some point it is going to be fully active and not just virtual.
I love it. I love the idea. I love the fact that it would be in Chicago, at some point as a physical location for people to go to. And I think that it's something that, from an educational standpoint, and obviously being a nonprofit, this is something that people should be educated on. Beer is sort of ensconced in this American dream sort of thing, since the 70s, since, Jimmy Carter signed the legislation to allow home brewing and allow the explosion of craft beer, which started in the 70s, but obviously really didn't take hold until, firmly ensconced until the 2000s. But I think that's a really great idea to put it in Chicago. Now, let's shift gears for a minute. You've got 2 shows on radio in South Jersey. Beverage Chronicles airs on Saturdays. Who have you been talking to recently that's been on the program?
What I wanted to do when I started Beverage Chronicles, which was a spinoff of an original show called What's on Tap, was to incorporate not just people in the beer world, but I'm actually I've worked with some people who are producing wine, growing grapes, coffee roasters. So the focus is pretty much anyone who's involved in liquid refreshment.
Okay.
Beer will be the major, retains the fact that it's a major part of the show. So I'd say maybe 75% of my guests are beer related. These are brewers, these are brewery owners, maybe the people who are pouring the beer for you. So it's more of a cross-section of people in the industry. And again, it's not just beer.
We're talking with Gary Monterosso. He's the author and host of various beer and music programs. Has just been recently asked to be on the advisory board of the new American Craft Beer Hall of Fame. More info at the website, AmericanCraftBeerHallOfFame.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Gary, what's your take on all of these craft breweries around the country that are closing? Is it a case of not recovering from the pandemic, a mismanagement of their finances, or is it something else?
Combination of so many factors. The ones that are closed, the ones that I've seen closing have had some management issues, quite frankly, production issues, distribution problems. We can also, pandemic, oh my goodness, no question about that. Increased costs. Just to put out a pint of beer is costing brewers more and more all the time.
Right.
The infusion of RTDs, the ready-to-drink cocktails, it's had an impact. Take a look at Boston Beer, for example, Jim Cook. Most of his sales, 55% of his sales are his hard tea, as opposed to beer. So consumer preferences are certainly evolving as well. Is craft beer dead? Oh, my goodness, no. It's still very, very strong. There are still more breweries opening than closing, just not at the rate that it was, as you mentioned, Al, 5, 10, 15 years ago. And so I'm not sounding the death knell for this at all. I think the industry is going to remain very, very strong.
Yeah, and I think it's a question of you have to be able to pivot. Younger drinkers are not drinking alcohol as much. They're going to alternative things. And I think as an owner of a brewery, I think you have to try and figure out a way to shift those trends to get people into your place and keep them there for a little bit. And whether it's making different beverages, whether it's a trivia night or something like that, or something to entice people to come into the door, that's, I think, the way that you have to do that. If you just keep saying, well, I'm just going to keep making the same beer and stick my head in the sand, and I know that people are going to come in, eventually those people are all going to go away, and that's not necessarily a good thing. All right, my last question, Gary. If there was one person you could pick to be in the American Craft Beer Hall of Fame, and you didn't have to vote for them, each board member would get one pick of a person at some point, down the road, whether it's now or a year or two from now, would be in the Hall of Fame, whom would it be?
That would be the original beer hunter himself, Michael Jackson. I was privileged to be able to tour with him. When he came to the States from England, he spent a couple of nights at our house. I was schooled by him. I learned not only about beer, but how to treat people, how to leave a brewery and have a brewer feeling good about himself or herself, even though Michael may have felt some of the beverages were not up to snuff, may have been flawed a little bit. He was just so adept at leaving someone feeling good about himself or herself because of their beer. And Michael started the industry. He legitimized everything through his Beer Hunter TV show, his plethora of books, and his just sheer presence.
Gary, that it's a great answer, but it's not the answer that the explanation I was expecting of how to treat people, and I love that, and I think that's a great thing because I think, and I've seen it recently where people are trashing other breweries for the liquid that they put out, and you know what? Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe their brewing techniques are not great. Maybe the ingredients they have aren't up to their snuff, or whatever the case may be. But I love the fact of it's how you treat those people when you leave to make them feel good about themselves, even if the beer is, not up to what it is. Did you drink it? Did you have all of it? It's not like it was a drain pour. I think that's a fantastic answer.
Michael was it. If I can relate one quick story.
Yeah.
I remember taking him to a small brewery in southern New Jersey, and he tried a particular beer, and he said, I'm going to say 8% wheat. And the brewer had to refer to his notes to find that it was, in fact, 10% wheat. That's how precise this man's sense of taste was.
Wow.
He blew me away.
That's
I know.
I would never even come close to that. That's fantastic. My palate is shot. Oh, my goodness. My guest has been Gary Bonoroso. He's an author, host of various beer and music programs, and is just recently asked to be on the advisory board of the new American Craft Beer Hall of Fame. More info is at the website. Just go to AmericanCraftBeerHallOfFame.com. You can also check out his show, Beverage Chronicles, on Saturdays at pop999fm.com, or his other program, Vintage Vinyl, on Thursdays, also at pop999fm.com. Gary, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.
After the break, acclaimed author Josh Bernstein joins me in an interview that was recorded back in August on AM 970, The Answer. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. The gentleman you're hearing right now is Ray LaMontagne, and his new album that's out right now, this is Step Into Your Power, but his new album out right now is called Long Way Home. And it's apropos because my next guest on the program here, he's been on a number of times. He's been in studio with me to talk beer. He's an author. He's a tour guide on great beer spots in New York City and so much more. He's got some must-read stories that are out now on craftbeer.com and on VinePair that you really have to check out. We've posted links already on the Craft Beer page, but we'll post them out again so you can check them out. But you can find his books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and etc. But the title of Ray LaMontagne's album is Long Way Home. Josh and his family has just recently moved back to Ohio, where he grew up. And for more info on all of that, you can check out his website at joshuambernstein.com. Let me welcome back to the Craft Beer Cast, fresh off of vacation, Josh Bernstein. Josh, thanks for joining me. How are you?
Oh, can't complain. Not too sunburned, so a successful beach vacation.
Excellent, excellent. All right, we'll get into that in a minute. But you wrote a fantastic piece a few weeks back for craftbeer.com that I've always wanted to know about. And why do so many breweries have chairs that are uncomfortable, specifically those metal chairs that have backs and don't have backs, and it's awful to sit in them for any long period of time. And I figured it was because they were inexpensive. I was not only right, but I love the reactions from some of the breweries in your piece who refused to purchase them and decided, no, when I open my brewery, I'm going to start with this. How fun was it to write this piece?
You know, it's one of these things where if you've been to one brewery tap room, you've sat in one of these chairs. I mean, it's one of these inescapable facts of a brewery going, much like hazy IPAs on tap, I will say. Right. And so, but, I think it's like you don't often think about the things that are so common around you. And so for me, I was like, okay, why is this object that's everywhere? Nobody likes it. It's like a shaker pint of seating, ubiquitous, unloved, but utilitarian. So I want to really dive down into it and provide a little bit of history on it, but also really talk to people that use it and see why, even if you understand the shortcomings, why it's still the best path forward.
Yeah, and it's funny though, because it's not only breweries, restaurants too. I know my wife and I, when we go out sometimes and we see a restaurant that has those types of chairs, I look at her and I go, you want to get this to go? You sort of want to avoid the chair, because isn't the goal to keep you in the seat, long enough to, whether it's buying more drinks and more appetizers at a restaurant or buying more beer, at a place. The goal is to keep you in the seat for as long as possible, right?
Yeah, and I think this is sort of the growth of what we're seeing in taproom hospitality. If you think back 10, 15 years ago when breweries started really taking off, that taprooms popped up in industrial neighborhoods with brick walls and Edison light bulbs. Having this kind of stark industrial seating kind of fit the vibe as well. And back then, you didn't really care about comfort. You just wanted fresh beer made in your local neighborhood or your hometown. So I think what we're seeing now is really this evolution that hospitality is so key and so king right now with so many tap rooms everywhere and people treating tap rooms like bars, and that you want to go to a place where, the beer is good, where the service is great, and the seats will maybe not make your butt go numb on your second round.
Exactly. We're talking with author writer Joshua Bernstein. He's got some great stories that are out now on craftbeer.com and on VinePair. You got to check him out. You can also order Josh's books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. And for more info, you check out his website, joshuambernstein.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. Now, the other piece that I want to touch on was posted on the VinePair website about how craft breweries are sharing tap rooms and brew systems. Is this the future of the business for some people?
I think it's the future, right? I mean, it's the future, and it's a smart rethinking of where things are at, both economically, beer demand-wise, and everything beyond. The beer industry has really stood out as one of the few places where, you have to have your own equipment to make your own products. Nobody cares or thinks about, wow, this T-shirt was made and was it made on somebody's own equipment? Was it made on this? No. I mean, oftentimes people share resources, people share equipment that generic cereals or whatever at Aldi made on the same equipment as the same name brand stuff, right? And so the beer industry really stood out as people, I think, needed to prove they were different than the big guys out there, that owning your own brewing system was really a badge of honor, that I own my own brewing system, I made it, even though you didn't need to make your own beer on your own system, that there's lots of other systems that may be better suited to making your beer styles instead of you dropping 6 figures on equipment.
Right. It reminds me of, I grew up on Staten Island, and I remember the Pathmarks, when Pathmark was a supermarket chain. They used to have generic beer that was just called beer. And nobody knew where it was made from. I forgot what brewery actually made it, but nobody cared. It was beer. That's all that mattered. You drank it, it was beer, and that was fine. But I do get it, and it does make sense to some extent because we're seeing it in New Jersey. Five Dimes Brewing is partnered up with Coastal Brewworks. They share tank space. They share a conjoined space, and Coastal Brewworks right now is looking to build out their own brewery somewhere down in central New Jersey, Red Bank, Eatontown area at some point next year. But short term, have these places that are combining forces together to make beer, have they seen reductions in cost, or is it too early for that?
I mean, I can't give you hard and fast numbers, but reductions in cost and rent happen immediately. If you shut down your brewing system and then go with somebody else, you're immediately saving on the cost of both from sort of the lease or the rent of the space that you're in, the equipment if you decide to sell it. You're able to gain efficiencies of scale by going in on orders for hops and grains. I think Magnify in Jersey is starting a cooperative right now where they're basically banding smaller regional breweries together so everybody can gain access to these economies of scale. I think this is the way forward on there. I mean, what the big brewers have always done is have economies of scale, which is why your 30 packs of whatever light lager are $15-$20.
Right.
I mean, that's the economies of scale. Smaller breweries will never be able to meet that. And as price sensitivities really, I think, creep up for people, and then people are not maybe as willing to spend $24 on a 4-pack of beer, if it's freshly canned right down the road using all the latest hops and hop products. I mean, you need to find ways to cut corners a little bit. And I mean, it's not just the beer world. Look at restaurant menus have shrunk down, so people don't need to have as many ingredients in stock. And so it's just about, paring down everything and figuring out what sells. Because the days of breweries making 100 beers and finding endless appetites and endless shelf space are over. So you have to find ways to really safeguard yourself for the future. And I mean, let's say that you opened up 5 years ago, but your equipment isn't really great for what you're doing, and somebody down the road's got better equipment that can help you, make beer more efficiently, or even better in a sense. It just makes a ton of sense right now for people to go off and do that. And I just think, as the days of, 20% or double-digit growth and 20% market share. Those are always sort of these numbers and dreams bandied about on there too. But the reality is not every industry goes up forever. And right now is just having this recalibration of what the true demand is. Mm-hmm. And if someone else is going in together, and if you can join forces and better ride out this moment, then I think it's a smart way right now.
I do agree with you on the grain and the hops and all of that stuff. I do think that more breweries should sort of band together to get a better price if you're in a position to do that, because obviously if 10 breweries are buying grain or hops from a certain manufacturer and they're all using the same stuff to create whatever recipe it is that they're creating, and you can get it at a cheaper rate if you're banding together, that makes perfect business sense. And obviously a lot of the breweries, it's a competition, but not really. They're all competing for the same dime, but a lot of them do get along with one another. I do think that is a great idea moving forward, and hopefully we'll see more of that. We're talking with author and writer Joshua Bernstein. He's got some great stories that are out now on craftbeer.com and on VinePair. You can also order Josh's books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. And for all information on Josh, just head over to his website, joshuambernstein.com, or on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. All right, last one for me, Josh. You moved to Ohio just recently. Congrats on the move. That's awesome. But you were recently on vacation in Delaware, and you made a remark on social media about how places like Crooked Hammock were a wonderful experience for you and your family. Can you explain to the audience what you meant by that?
Yeah, totally. I think the debate of kids in tap rooms is eternal.
Right.
And I think, do kids belong in tap rooms? I mean, do kids belong in a place where in a dark, dingy industrial space with nothing for them to do? Of course not. That's doing a disservice to your kid, and it's your selfishness on your part to want to go there and hang out there, not thinking about what your kids' needs are. Right. You know, I think what's happening right now, Crooked Hammock has a kid-first approach toward, I guess let me rephrase that, a hospitality-first approach to becoming a tap room. So the place we went to, their location in coastal Delaware, what it had is you walk in there, can seat several hundred people, menu of great crowd-pleasing hits. Hospitality is put on a premium, lots of servers that know what they're talking about. The space out back had everything from, AstroTurf and ping pong tables and playground equipment and this and that for kids to clamber on. And, it just gave everybody this chance to really enjoy the space together. Alcohol wasn't the central point of it all. The food wasn't the central point of it all. It was just one of these moments where everybody got something out of a taproom experience or a brewery experience, which isn't always the case, right? I mean, kids don't want to sit around and watch you untap through a couple flights of 4-ounce beers.
Right.
That's no fun for younger kids. But, you can have a beer. And, parents still need to be responsible. You pay attention to what's going on. But there's place for kids to be kids and run around and do it. And it's just this, I think, healthy recentering of alcohol in the place of families, something that existed a ton of. Think of in America pre-Prohibition, pre-World War I, German beer gardens everywhere, that you can have a beer or two and kids around and the world isn't going to fall apart.
That's awesome, and I've done some stuff on Crooked Hammock, and I've never actually been to those places, but I love the fact that I think, and I do agree with you, I think that's where the beer business is sort of going. I think you have to create a full experience for everybody, and as much as the debate about kids being in breweries or dogs being in breweries, you have to create an environment that's going to bring people back, because that's your audience right now. Younger people aren't drinking, middle-aged family between 30 and 50, they want to be able to do things socially and be able to go to a brewery with their friends and bring their little kids along and have some fun. And I think if you give them that full experience, you're going to have more repeat customers. It makes perfect sense. And I'm glad that you had a positive experience with your family at Crooked Hammock. My guest has been author and writer Joshua Bernstein. Check out his stories. We're posting them online. He's got books. He does beer tours. He'll be coming back to New York to do some beer tours very soon. And hopefully when he comes back, he'll have a visit here in the studio with me. His website is joshuambernstein.com. Josh, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I so very much appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much. It's a pleasure as always.
Up next, Lennox Lewis joins me from back in October to talk about Rock Vodka, the vodka that rocks, to close out the show on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer.
I wanna rock.
Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The Answer, a little Twisted Sister, and I Want to Rock from the Stay Hungry album from way, way back in 1984. That's right. That album, 40 years old. All right, we're going to get to the interview with Lennox Lewis in just a couple of minutes, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Rock Vodka, which is the vodka that rocks. And the reason why I play Twisted Sister is because Dee Snider is one of the guys whose face is on a bottle of Rock Vodka that, was signed, bottles were signed by him, limited edition, and you could purchase them. So part of the reason why I interviewed Lennox Lewis was because of Rock Vodka. So let me take you through it in a couple of minutes. That interview with Lennox Lewis, the former heavyweight champion of the world, we did that from Le Bar Penelope in Midtown. This was an interview that I recorded last Sunday. Of course, portions of the program brought to you by Wet Ticket Brewing. 1435 Main Street, beautiful Rahway, New Jersey. Go get yourself a pint of Too Much Fun. That's the collaboration beer that I did with Tim Pewitt of Wet Ticket. So Bobby Fallis is a Long Island native. He's the entrepreneur that created the brand of Rock Vodka. He did it to support musical artists of all genres, celebrities, athletes, and creating custom exclusive limited edition bottles to create brand awareness and revenue stream for the celebrity. So that's pretty cool. Now, here's the best part. The vodka is made from Spanish grapes in Madrid. He visited Madrid vineyards, where Spanish Tempranillo, I believe it's the way it's pronounced, grapes are grown and doing, obviously you got to taste test a lot of these things to get the right thing that you wanted. And I guess Bobby realized in the midst of all of this that grape taste was what he was looking for to differentiate the vodka from the hundreds of other vodkas that are out there. It's been distilled 5 times in tailor-made copper stills. According to their website, the distinctiveness of the grape spirit along with the extended distillation process grant a Rock Vodka an exceptionally smoothness and a sophisticated fruit taste. It is unique, organic, and gluten-free vodka. I have to tell you, I had one of the drinks that they had at Le Bar Penelope. It was fantastic. I had the Rocca Sucker Punch. I find my reading glasses here because I'm blind as a bat now. This was, oh, wait a minute. Maybe that wasn't. Yeah, no. That was it. Rock Vodka, fresh lemon juice, simple syrup, cherry puree, and Prosecco. Then they had a Rocca TKO with Rock Vodka, ginger ale, lemon juice, and Angostura bitters. They had a basic martini, which was Rock Vodka. It was called Rocca on the Ropes. Rock Vodka garnished with a lemon twist. And then they had Rock Stick and Move, Rocky movies. Rock Vodka, peach schnapps, cranberry juice, and lime juice. So I had the Sucker Punch. That was fantastic. I'm a sucker for anything purple, so they had already had me at purple. Fantastic vodka. It was delicious. Could easily see this being mixed in different drinks. Lennox will tell you in the interview in just a moment how he likes it. But the other thing that Rock Vodka has, which everybody is doing now, it seems, but they're doing it a little differently, ready-to-drink cocktails. They're not seltzers. They're true cocktails. There are 3 of them. They're 12-ounce cans, 7% alcohol content. Perfect. That's exactly what you want. I know Dogfish Head went up to a 12% cocktail. The 7% is good for me. It combines the smooth essence of Rock Vodka. This is the first one is Rockaleta. Rock Vodka, richness of roasted coconut, and a tantalizing touch of white pepper. Then they have Rockaberry. This is ripe strawberry, zesty lime, and refreshing peppermint with the Rock Vodka. And then the third one is, Rockabilly, which is bitter orange, the subtle warmth of dried ginger, and the aromatic touch of cinnamon. Now, I haven't had the cocktails yet. They sound delicious. I'm encouraged to try them. I think we're going to get Bobby on the program to talk a little bit more about Rock Vodka. But I have to say, what a fantastic event. Had an adventure getting there. I collided into a messenger, a guy on a bicycle, e-bike, delivering food. I left my wife stranded in the car on 57th Street because I couldn't find a parking spot. It was absolutely insane for me to get there. But get there I did. Had a drink. I only had one. I wish I could have stayed longer. I couldn't. I had to get home. Obviously, I left my wife in the car, and on top of that, we had to get the dog out for a walk. But the vodka is fantastic. I encourage you. RockVodka.com, ROCK, ROCAVAKA.com is the website for more information, how to purchase a bottle, a celebrity bottle that's signed. They do all these VIP events. It was a lot of fun. So without further ado, here is my interview with Lennox Lewis. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. We're coming to you today, as you can hear the music behind me, and the man standing next to me, who you can't see, but I'm going to describe to you, the three-time heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis. He's here promoting Rocka Vodka, the vodka that rocks. We're here at Le Bar Penelope, 14th East 60th Street in Manhattan. Lennox, congratulations on the vodka, which is a limited edition bottle with your picture on the bottle. How did you get involved with the folks from Rocka Vodka?
Well, they came at me, and it was a great that we got together, because we came up with, a bottle that embodies me: smooth, strong, delicious. And I was really excited about this, and the fact that they came out with it and it tasted so good, because if there's a couple alcohols that I would drink out there, definitely vodka would be one of my main ones. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that it hits you subtly, it's not too strong, and it tastes great.
It does. It's very smooth, and I have to tell you, so do you enjoy it straight up in a martini, a mixer? I know they're doing a couple of different cocktails today. I was drinking the I think it was the Sucker Punch, which I loved. First off, I'm a sucker for purple. Anything purple, I love it. So right off the bat, I like that one.
No, you can make a lot of different drinks with it, and we came up with some good cocktails today. But I actually like it just straight up with some ice.
I like that, straight up ice. No shot, just a nice sipping, almost like a tequila.
Right, that's what I said. It tastes really good. It's really smooth, which everybody will love. Right. They'll be shocked at it, and it only takes one taste before you realize, hey, this is really smooth. I like it. So take it from me, because everybody that tastes it, that's their impression.
The voice that you're hearing is that of a former three-time heavyweight champion boxer Lennox Lewis here at Le Bar Penelope, 14th East 60th Street in Manhattan, as Rocka Vodka launches a limited edition celebrity bottle with Lennox's image on the bottle. Now, for more info on that and how you can purchase it, just head over to Rocka Vodka. It's ROCAVAKA.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. So, Lennox, I'm going to switch to boxing for a second. You won gold for Canada in the Olympics. Yes. You were the one who unified all the belts as a heavyweight, the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the IBO. Yes. What is the biggest accomplishment for you, winning gold or unifying the belts?
Well, that was a hard question. It's definitely both. I think, everybody wants to win a gold medal at the Olympics. I actually won 2 medals, a bronze, where I don't really talk about too much, in the 84 Olympics. In the 88 Olympics is where I won the gold, and I feel that everybody remembers gold. They don't remember the bronze. So, I was, that's a big achievement. My biggest amateur achievement, my biggest professional achievement is being the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And they came with other accolades before that, like European, British, and all that. But, it's working your way up to the top. It's like a road up a hill to the top, but the road is filled with a little bit of potholes, some curves, and it's hard to get to the top, but I made it.
You did. That you did. Last question for me, Lennox. You're one of only 3 world heavyweight champions to have retired with victories over every opponent that you faced as a professional. Who was the toughest one in your opinion?
My mom. My mom could wallop. She could throw a good right hand.
His mom was the toughest opponent. So was mine. I get it, because I got a beating at 16. I had long hair down in my back, and I was out until 5 o'clock in the morning. My mom beat the daylights out of me. I had a haircut the next day. Not good. And she was only 5 feet tall, so you can imagine. So former 3-time heavyweight champion boxer Lennox Lewis, thanks so much for joining me here at Le Bar Penelope, 14 East 60th Street in Manhattan. Rocka Vodka launching that limited edition celebrity bottle. Now, I know that you're signing a bunch of these bottles as well for sale, and you can go over to RockAVodka.com, ROCAVAKA.com.
it's a collector's item. You know, if you want one of these, they're limited edition, so make sure you get yours soon.
Thanks for giving me a couple of minutes. I do appreciate it. My thanks to everyone involved in the program, the guests, and, of course, last but not least, the great Buddy Watson. Back Monday on the Joe Piscopo Show at 6 a.m. This has been the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Cheers, everybody.